I'm going to show you how to install Debian Bookworm, so 12.5, which is the latest version of Debian as of the 9th of May 2024. We're going to be installing it on Proxmox, so we'll make sure the QEMU Guest Agent's installed. We've got sudo running and the apt is working properly. So we're going to do that. Now, one thing I'm not going to be doing is installing a graphical desktop. We'll make sure SSH is running so we can SSH in and access the system remotely, but we're not going to need a graphical desktop for the next few videos that we're doing. So I'm doing this because I don't want to reinstall Debian or show a video of me reinstalling Debian for the next couple of videos that I'm going to be doing. So by the end of this, you'll know how to install Debian on Proxmox, and you'll just be able to follow this video for any of the future videos that I'm doing that require Debian for an installation.
Sheridan Computers, IT, Communications, Support.
I'm logged into Proxmox. The first thing that I need to do is obviously to grab the ISO from Debian. So we're going to go head across to debian.org/download. So this link here. And then we want to copy this Debian 12.5.0 AMD64-net ISO. So I'm going to right click that and I'm going to do copy link. Now if we go back into Proxmox, obviously I need to get this ISO into Proxmox. So I've only got one node. I'm going to go into here, I'm going to ISO images, and I want to download from URL. I'm just going to paste that URL in there. And query. So 629 megs, pick the file name up, and we're all good to go. Now you can put the hash in there if you want. So if we get the signature, sorry, wrong one. Not that. SHA, that one, to make sure we've got the right one. And then we're going to do algorithm, just to verify the signature, so SHA 512 sum, so we want SHA 512. And then we can just paste that checksum in to make sure we get the right one. And we've got download. It's going to go ahead and download that. So you can see down here it says calculating checksum. So the checksum is optional, but it just ensures that you have got an untampered image. So that's completely optional, but it's something that you should get used to doing. So now we've got that. So you can see Debian 12.5.0 appears here. So now I'm going to go and create a new virtual machine. So I'll create VM. Give it a name. So I'm just going to give it Debian 12. And then under OS, we want the image. Obviously, once it's set to Linux, storage, choose your correct storage place. Graphics card, I'm going to leave this as default for this. So I'm going to leave QEMU agent unticked. And we'll go to disks. I'm going to choose my ZFS pool under storage, and I'll leave it at 32 gig for this. In fact, no, I won't make it useful. So I'll give it 80 gig. I'm not going to take SSD emulation or anything like that. The cache, I'm going to set to right back. And then when we go to CPU, we'll leave it at one socket, and we can set it to 2 or 4 cores, depending on how we want. If you only have one node, or all your nodes in the CPU types are the same, then you can go ahead and set it to host. If you have multiple nodes and the CPU types are different, then just leave that as default, so you don't have any problems moving them between the nodes. We'll go to memory. So I'm going to leave it at 2 gig. I don't want ballooning, so I want it to dedicate the 2 gig of memory. And we'll next. We'll leave the network device. Next. And then we'll go ahead, finish. And then it should appear here in a second. So our Debian 12 machine has now appeared. So I'm going to select that, and we're just going to go ahead and hit start. Go to the console. I'll do the graphical install. Obviously choose a language. Select your location, so for me it's United Kingdom. And then your keyboard layout, so British English for myself. So my network is auto configured by DHCP, so if you've got DHCP enabled, you should be good. And I'm just going to call it Debian 12. Continue. Give it a domain name, so put whatever you want in there. Choose a password for root. And then we need to create another user because we don't want to be using the system as root all the time. So enter the name of the user, the username for the account, so that's the name that you're going to log in with. Again, choose another password. Make sure they're the same. So I'm just going to go with guided, use entire disk for this. If you want to set up disk encryption, then you can do, but I'm not going to cover that in this one. So select the hard disk. And then I'm going to do all files in one partition. And then finish partition and write to disk. We want to go ahead and write those changes. Okay, so we don't have any other media that we wish to scan in this case, so we're just going to click next. And then configure the package manager, so we'll go next for United Kingdom. You can leave deb.debian.org. I'm just going to use ftp.uk. It's the closest to me. Leave the proxy blank even. Popularity contest, you can opt into that if you want. Okay, so software selection. So because we're setting this up as a server, we have the options here. So Debian desktop environment, I don't want that ticked, so we don't want the desktop environment because it's going to be a server environment. But we do want the standard system utilities, and we want SSH, so we can SSH into it. And then we'll go back down to continue. So at this point we need to install Grub bootloader. This is the only disk that we've got in the system, so we're just going to go ahead and install it on the primary drive. So leave yes ticked and select continue. Choose your drive and continue. Okay, so installation is complete. So we need to remove any installation media so that we can reboot into the new system. So in order to do that, go to options on Proxmox. So select options. And then we want, so it's not under, it's under hardware line. Then DVD drive, choose do not use any media. Okay. And if we go back to console, we can continue. Now we'll go ahead and reboot. Okay, at this point, log in as root and whatever password you set. I can't remember what I set. There we go. And if we get the IP address, So 10.1.10.117. So we can SSH into it, so we no longer need the console. So I'll go ahead and do that. We'll pull our terminal window up. Make it a bit bigger so we can see it. Now we can go ahead and SSH into Debian. So SSH your username at whatever the IP address was. Yes to the fingerprint, and then put your password in. And now we are logged into Debian. So sudo doesn't work, so we're going to su and then log in as root. In fact, we do a apt update, then apt upgrade, and we want to make sure that the QEMU Guest Agent is installed. So I'm going to do apt install QEMU Guest Agent. So it's already installed, so it was installed as part of the process. So I'm just going to shut that down real quick. So I'll put the su space hyphen at the end of it, so it's got the environment. Then we'll just do power off. Okay. So I just want to nip back into Proxmox and find my host. So you probably could have just ticked Guest Agent since it installs it automatically. But we're going to go into Options, QEMU Guest Agent, and we're going to turn that on. Okay. And then we'll start that again. Let's get the machine booted up again. Okay, so we boot it up so we can SSH back into it. Put your password in. So if I make this look a bit bigger so you can see what we're doing. Okay, so sudo is not installed, so we'll go ahead and do that. So su to root, so do su space hyphen and then enter and put the root password in. We can do apt install sudo. This is fine. So then I'm going to go and edit the, let me just install apt install Vim. Yeah, I know VI is installed, but we'll just install this real quick. So with sudo installed, we can go ahead and add the user. So we can do user mod as ag sudo Sheridan or whatever your username is to add you into the group. But I'm actually going to go into etc. And within the etc directory, there's sudo is. So I'm going to edit that file. So mvim sudo is. Make this a bit bigger. I'm going to scroll down. If we scroll down under root, where it allows root to sudo, we've got allow members of the sudo group to execute any command. Now I'm going to set this to no password, otherwise you're going to have to enter a password every single time. So I'm just going to insert here no pass wd : / all. And we'll go ahead and save that. It's read only, so req. Okay, so now if we SSH out of there and go back in, we should now be able to use sudo without any restrictions. And we can. So the next thing that I want to do is update the apt sources list. And we can do that by doing sudo and then mvim, etc. apt sources list. And I'm just going to edit this file. So bookworm main, and then I'm going to add the contrib ones in. So contrib and non-free. Same here. Contrib, non-free. Contrib, non-free. Probably copy and paste these in. Would be easier and quicker. And then just gonna save that. Do sudo apt update. Sudo apt upgrade. Now we're done, and we're good to continue with the next video in the series. So that's Debian 12.5 installed, which is the latest version of Debian as of the 9th of May 2024. We've got a lot of videos planned coming up, and I didn't fancy installing Debian for each of those videos. So this gives you a good starting point if you're going to be installing a self-hosted Bitwarden or anything else that you need to do, which is going to be installed on Debian. So that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notifications icon.